Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. If the market dropped 30% tomorrow morning and you were planning to retire in the next 2 to 5 years, what would that actually mean for your retirement? Not in the abstract, not for your neighbor's portfolio, for yours, for your income, for the life you've been working toward. Because here's what I'm seeing, and I talk to pre-retirees and retirees every single day. More and more people in their late 50s and 60s are quietly making a move. They're not panicking, they're not cashing everything out and stuffing it under a mattress, but they are repositioning. They're shifting a portion of their hard earned retirement savings out of the direct market exposure and into strategies designed to protect principal, guarantee income, and reduce their tax bill. And they're doing it for reasons that have nothing to do with fear and everything to do with math. My name is Shonda Prescott, and today on Retirement Security Simplified, I'm going to show you exactly why this is happening in 2026, what's driving it, and whether it might make sense for you. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to see retirement planning in a way most people don't understand until it's too late. Now, before we talk about what people are doing, we need to understand what they're responding to, because this isn't just about market volatility. It's about where you are in your financial journey. Here's something most people don't hear until they sit across from someone like me. The rules of investing change completely when you're approaching retirement. When you're 35 years old and the market drops 40%, what do? You keep contributing, you ride it out. Time is on your side, and history says the market recovers. But when you're 62, 65, 68, you don't have that same runway. And taking the same strategy that worked during your accumulation years into retirement is one of the most common and costly mistakes I see people make. In 2026, we're living through a unique set of conditions. Markets have been volatile, inflation has been stubborn, interest rates have kept people guessing, and millions of baby boomers are crossing into retirement every single day, right in the middle of all of this. So, what do smart, thoughtful people do? They start asking different questions. Not just, how do I grow my money, but how do I protect what I've already built? In my conversations with clients, three fears come up every time. Number one, running out of money before I run out of life. Number two, suffering a major market loss right when I need to start drawing income. Number three, a health event or long-term care need wiping out everything I saved. If any of those feel familiar, you're not irrational and you're not alone. You're actually paying attention, and that matters. Let me show you the single biggest reason this shift is happening and why it especially matters if you're within 10 years of retirement. This concept is called sequence of returns risk. And I'll be honest with you, most people have never heard of it. But once you understand it, you can't unhear it. Here's a simple version. It's not just about the average return your portfolio earns over time. It's about when the bad years happen. For example, there are two people, same retirement savings, same withdrawal amount each year, same average return over 20 years. The only difference? The order the returns arrived in. Person A had great returns in the early years of retirement. Markets cooperate. Their portfolio grows even as they take withdrawals. 20 years later, they still have money left over. Person B gets the exact same returns, just in reverse order. The bad years hit first. And because they're pulling income out of a shrinking portfolio, they're selling shares at a discount to fund their lifestyle. They run out of money in year 14. Same average return, same withdrawal, completely different outcome. Now connect that to 2026. We've had choppy, unpredictable markets. Volatility has been elevated. People are watching their statements bounce around right at the moment they're planning to retire, or right as they've just retired. This is what's called the retirement red zone. The 5 years before and the 5 years after retirement are statistically your highest risk window. A major loss in this window can permanently derail your income plan in a way that's very difficult, sometimes impossible, to recover from. This is why the people moving money right now aren't being reckless. They're being strategic. They're reducing their exposure to that timing risk during the most vulnerable window of their financial lives. Here's a key point. A retiree taking withdrawals cannot simply wait out a market drop the way an accumulator can. Every withdrawal from a losing portfolio makes the hole deeper. Now, here's something most financial content on YouTube completely ignores, and it's costing retirees thousands of dollars a year. For a lot of the people I work with, moving money isn't just about protecting their portfolio from a market drop. It's also about protecting their Social Security income and keeping their Medicare costs under control. Let's start with Social Security. Here's something that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax. It's not automatic. It depends on what the IRS calls your combined income or provisional income. And combined income includes things like your wages, pension, IRA withdrawals, required minimum distributions, interest income, and yes, your investment gains. Provisional income equals adjusted gross income plus non-taxable interest plus 50% of Social Security benefits. So if the market has a great year and your portfolio throws off significant gains, that income can push your provisional income above the threshold, and suddenly a big chunk of your Social Security benefit is taxable. Now let's talk about Medicare, specifically something called IRMAA. That stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, and it's a surcharge on your Medicare Part B and Part D premiums based on your income. In 2025, the standard Medicare Part B premium was around $185 a month. But if your income exceeded certain thresholds, that premium could jump to $370, $530, even $628 a month per person. If you're married, you're doubling those numbers. And here's the part that stings. IRMAA is based on your income from 2 years prior. So a big year in your portfolio in 2024 can hit your Medicare premiums in 2026. And most people never see it coming. That's why I talk about what I call the golden window. That's the period between age 59 and a half when you can access your retirement accounts without penalty and age 73 when required minimum distributions kick in. This window is your best opportunity to strategically reposition assets, do Roth conversions if appropriate, and take control of your income in retirement before the IRS forces your hand. Smart, informed retirees are moving money during this window not because they're guessing about the market, but because they understand how income, taxes, and Medicare premiums all interact. That's a different level of retirement planning. Protecting your portfolio isn't only about market losses. Unmanaged income in retirement can silently drain thousands through higher Social Security taxes and IRMAA surcharges every single year. So we've covered why this shift is happening. Now let's talk about where some of that money is going. And I want to be clear, this isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. Every situation is different. Some people are moving money into CDs. Some are buying short-term bonds. Some are increasing their cash position temporarily. All of those have a role depending on your specific situation. But there's one category that I work with most often for the clients in that retirement red zone, and that's called a fixed indexed annuity, or FIA. And I know when some people hear the word annuity, they immediately tune out. Maybe you've heard horror stories. Maybe someone told you annuities are expensive, inflexible, or just for old people. I get it. But a fixed index annuity is a very different animal from the products that earned annuities a bad reputation. Let me break it down simply. First, your principal is protected. A fixed index annuity has what's called a floor, typically zero. That means if the market index your contract is linked to drops 30%, your account value doesn't drop. You don't lose principal due to market performance. Zero is your floor. Second, your money still has the opportunity to grow. A fixed index annuity links your interest credits to the performance of a market index, like the S&P 500, without you being directly invested in the market. If the index goes up, you capture some of that growth, up to a cap or subject to a participation rate. If the index goes down, you get zero for that period, but you don't lose what you had. Think of it this way. You're not in the market, you're not out of the market, you're beside the market with a safety net underneath you. Third, many fixed index annuities offer optional income riders that allow you to turn on a guaranteed stream of income in retirement. Income you cannot outlive, regardless of what the market does or how long you live. That's a powerful feature when your biggest fear is running out of money. Now, I want to be straightforward with you. Fixed index annuities are not perfect for everyone. They do have surrender periods, typically 6 to 10 years, during which you'll face penalties if you withdraw more than a certain percentage. So liquidity planning matters, and the caps on growth mean you won't capture every dollar of a big market rally. But for the client who's approaching retirement, has money they know they won't need for the next several years, and wants to protect principal while still earning more than a CD, a fixed index annuity can be a very powerful tool. And paired with smart Social Security timing and proactive IRMAA management, it can completely change the retirement income picture. Let me tell you who this kind of repositioning typically makes a lot of sense for. If you're between 55 and 70 years old, if you're within 3 to 10 years of retirement, or you've recently retired, if you have IRA, 401k, 403b, or TSP assets that you know you don't need to touch for the next several years, and if your biggest concern is protecting what you've built and making sure you have guaranteed income you can count on, then yes, this conversation is worth having. Now, who might this not be for? If you're in your 30s or early 40s and you have long investment horizon ahead of you, the market is almost certainly your best friend. You have time to recover from downturns, and growth should be your priority. If you need full access to your funds in the next year or two for a major purchase or expense, a product with a surrender period may not be appropriate for that money. And if you already have substantial guaranteed income from a pension, Social Security, or other sources that fully covers your living expenses, you may need less of this kind of protection than someone whose income is entirely dependent on their portfolio. I also want to speak directly to any federal employees watching this. If you're covered under FERS, the Federal Employees Retirement System, you already have a guaranteed income floor in your pension, and that's a meaningful advantage. But here's what I see all the time. Federal employees have substantial TSP balances that they've built up over a career, and they're often not sure what to do with that money when they retire. A rollover into a fixed index annuity can be an excellent complement to your FERS pension, giving you additional protected guaranteed income to cover the gap between your pension and your full living expenses. So, whether you're a federal employee or a private sector professional, the principle is the same. You want to match guaranteed income to guaranteed expenses and protect the assets that need to last a lifetime. Let me bring it all together for you. The reason so many retirees are quietly repositioning their money in 2026 comes down to three things. One, sequence of returns risk. The timing of market losses in the retirement red zone can permanently derail an income plan in a way that's hard to recover from. Two, the Social Security and IRMAA tax trap. Unmanaged income in retirement can silently cost you thousands of dollars a year in taxes on your Social Security benefit and surcharges on your Medicare premiums. And three, the need for protected guaranteed income. When your paycheck stops, you need a plan that doesn't depend entirely on what the market decides to do next month. These aren't emotional decisions. They're mathematically sound, strategically smart moves made by people who understand that the rules of retirement are different from the rules of accumulation. If this video helped you, you might like to read a free booklet called For Those Who Want to Prosper and Thrive in Retirement. Check out the link in the description box to get that free information. If this video gave you something to think about, please hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love to have you here. You spent a lifetime building what you have. You've worked too hard to let a poorly timed market drop, an unexpected tax bill, or a strategy that was never designed for this stage of life quietly undo all of that. Let's make sure your retirement is as secure as you've earned it to be. This is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.